Johnny then, who would like to change places with me? I'll go sit down and you can come up here and don't have to give a presentation, just tell us about your day or whatever you like. Who would like to do that? Just hypothetical, because we're not actually going to do that.
No, thank you.
No, okay. Well, in a small group like this, it's not surprising, but surveys have shown that 3/4 of the population do not want to speak in public. They avoid it like the plague. But it ranges from this fellow here who is very uncomfortable speaking in public. He'd rather be somewhere else, anywhere else, to this fellow who's absolutely freaking out. Maybe you've seen someone like this in your past. Where what we really want to be is like this. Of course, maybe you guys don't want to be exactly like this, but what I'm talking about is, look at her, she's cool, she's calm, she's collected, she's confident. That's what we want to be like. So in the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to show you how you can go from this to this. But first of all, we have to decide, is it worthwhile? Why bother? Why bother becoming a confident speaker? Why become a competent speaker? What are the reasons? Why? Why would we bother doing that? Any suggestions? Well, let's look at a few. One is to be ready for an opportunity. When you have the skills of public speaking and you're confident in public speaking, there will be opportunities you're going to be able to take advantage of. Look at the public hearings that the city might have or the provincial government has for public input. There's an opportunity to be heard. You have opportunities at work where a job that you would like to take advantage of requires you to do presentations. And if your fear of public speaking prevents you from pursuing that, that's a lost opportunity. And there are only so many opportunities you're going to get in your life, and they don't come back. They are gone forever. When you are speaking in public, because you're quite a rare individual who will take advantage of public speaking opportunities, you're going to be noticed. And the people who notice you may be your managers and your supervisors, the bosses. And when they notice you, that means that could be your ticket to your next promotion. Which of course means more money, which is always a good thing. And self-esteem. If you can overcome your fear of public speaking, or at least be able to deal with it, to tame it, just imagine the satisfaction you'll get from that. It'd be like climbing Mount Everest for many people. You roll those three together, being ready for opportunities, being noticed by individuals, and a boost in your self-esteem. What that'll give you is an improved life. It'll give you a happier life. So I think we can all agree that becoming a confident and competent public speaker is a worthwhile cause. Today what we're going to look at are the sources of fear. Where does this fear come from? Where do we even have it? What triggers it? And we're going to look at some ways to deal with the fear of public speaking. So let's first look at the sources. Self-consciousness is the big one. There was a psychologist who did a study on the fear of public speaking, and she went to elementary schools, and in those elementary schools she went to the grade 1 class, and she asked the grade 1s a question, and that question was, who can sing? Well, immediately all the little hands just flew in the air. Of course we could sing. Everybody could sing. How ridiculous. Then she went to the grade 5 classes. in those same elementary schools, many of them. And she asked the grade 5s, who here can sing? Nobody put up their hand, time after time after time. So what happened between grade 1 and grade 5? Everybody lose their voices? No. Everybody became self-conscious. It became very important what other people thought. Out of the pack. People are pack animals. That's why we live in a city. Very few people are not antisocial, or are antisocial. The hermits, they're about the only ones. Everyone else enjoys living with people. We're pack animals. Another pack animal is a wolf. And a wolf depends on being in the pack to survive. A single wolf cannot take down a buffalo or an elk. It takes a pack to do that. So if a wolf is excluded from the pack, it's a death sentence. It'll starve to death. So how do you know if you're out of the pack? Well, if you're in a room and you're standing and everyone else is sitting, and you're talking and everybody else is listening, you're out of the pack. Oh my God, I'm going to die! Well, you're not going to die. It's not going to kill you. Public speaking is not going to kill you. When you have a rough time at one experience, it's once bitten, twice shy. It's a natural reaction of self-preservation to avoid the unpleasant experiences that you happen to have in the past. And I think very few people have a real positive time when the first time they speak in public. It may be at a wedding, it may be at school, but most people are very nervous. It doesn't turn out very well normally. So when you have that to remember, then you try to avoid it. That's only natural. So let's look at some of the triggers of fear and anxiety. What makes it happen? One is the unknown. And then this is another situation where it is self-preservation. When you are going to an unknown situation, the adrenaline goes up, you get nervous, you get edgy, you're ready to handle anything that comes your way. It's fight or flight. Another natural reaction. And it's the same when you go into a public speaking arena. You don't know if the audience is going to love what you say. Are they going to laugh at your jokes? It's an unknown experience, so it gets your nervousness up and your anxiety going. Hands up, all of those people who just really enjoy looking like an idiot in front of somebody else. Of course we don't. And if you do, we'll get some counseling for you. We are taught right from when we're little children, mistakes are bad. No, don't do that. Stop that. And when you're in elementary school and the teacher gives you back your work, at least when she gave back my work, it was all these red marks and X's and corrections all over it. And not a nice green, mellow color. Red, bad, warning, danger. And isn't it a fact that when you make a mistake, there always seems to be someone around to point it out? And sometimes more than one. Oh, you don't want to bore your audience. There are going to be times when your audience is going to yawn. But it might not be you. It just, they didn't sleep well last night. Or they leave. They have to go to the washroom. Walking out. But nobody wants to bore an audience. So you're going to have the yawners at times. But you're also going to have those people, and this is the worst, I think, is when they notice, oh, what is that? I wasn't here this morning. More interest in a little mark on there that they just discovered than in yours. Then you know you've pretty much lost them. So a legitimate fear, boring your audience. We're going to look at that later. Now let's look at some of the solutions that you can pursue to help you control your anxieties. We have the mental thing, what's going up in here between the old horns. The subject of your presentation is very important. We're going to talk about how to practice your speech and also some relaxation techniques. So let's look at the mental stuff first of all. One approach that you can take, and this was in a book by Dale Carnegie, How to Stop Worrying. And he said, when you're going into a situation, whether it's a job interview or whether it's a new job or it's moving into a different residence, and you're nervous and upset about it, this goes for a public speaking presentation as well. Think about what's the worst that can happen. Look at all that stuff, worrying your audience, making mistakes, people not laughing at your jokes. What's the worst that can happen? I mean, your legs aren't going to fall off or anything. You're going to be fine. So learn to accept what the worst thing that can happen in your public speaking presentation. And you'll find, well, it's not going to be pleasant, but I can live with that. I will survive that. So then once you've accepted the very bottom rung, then everything above that is going to be gravy. So now you start looking at that. It takes the pressure off. We have to change our attitude towards mistakes because you are going to make mistakes. Everyone does. One gentleman that's probably made more mistakes than anyone else is a fellow by the name of Thomas Edison. He also has more patents in the U.S. Patent Office than anyone else. He learned from those mistakes. A book I was reading, the lady was talking about self-improvement, self-development, and she said, the only mistake that you can make in your life is to quit something that you want. Everything else is just gathering information. So look at that as mistakes are just a way of gathering information. Use those mistakes. They are an investment in your future. Look at what you're doing as giving something to your audience. Now, if we went out tomorrow in a busy lunchtime and we started giving away free gift certificates to the Tim Hortons, that'd be kind of fun, especially with somebody else's money. But if you were out there at that same busy time requesting donations for your club, a little bit nerve-wracking. There's some anxiety. You're going to be concerned about the reactions of those individuals you're going to ask. It's not going to be fun. And how that ties in with public speaking is that if you concentrate on what you're giving to your audience, rather than what the audience can give to you, it'll reduce your anxiety. If you are going into a public speaking presentation and you want lots of applause and lots of approval from your audience, that's going to be very anxiety-producing situation. Whereas if you look at just giving, hey, that's fun. Takes the pressure off. I coach the air cadets in town, and one young fellow was very nervous about speaking in public. And this one statement changed everything for him. Hey, they want me to do a good job. Well, where's the pressure on that? They're not my enemy, they're my allies. And that is a fact. When you are looking at someone giving a presentation, and if they're nervous and agitated, and you can see their anxiety, who enjoys that? Nobody enjoys that. Your audience wants you to be comfortable, to be cheerful, to have fun, so they can relax and have fun. So your audience are on your side. But you're going to be a little bit nervous, but that's a good thing, really. Get your energy level up. But to get too much, you can counter it by using vocal variety and gestures. And anyone know who this gentleman is?
No.
Nikita Khrushchev. Very famous individual in history. He's one of the reasons why we're here today. The other one is John F. Kennedy and the Cuban Missile Crisis. They both had level heads and realized that, no, that nuclear war was not the way to go, when their generals thought that, yeah, this could be winnable. But he made a very famous speech at the United Nations where he took off his shoe and he's hammered on the lectern. And he's remembered to that day for that one speech because of the gestures that he made during the speech. And if you have some nervousness, use gestures, use vocal variety. It'll burn up some of that energy. When you come to do your presentation, come early to the place. Familiarize yourself with the lectern area. Go sit in the seats. Get comfortable with what you're going to be dealing with. And meet the people. Meet and greet the people when they come in, so that, hey, these are just folks. You know, they know them. They're like friends now. They're not horrible ogres unknown to you. This cuts down on the unknown, that anxiety for the unknown. Now I do know what the room's like. I am familiar with the equipment, and I do know the people that have come to hear my presentation. So now I'm more comfortable. Now let's look at what you are going to talk about. When you choose a subject, do yourself a great favor and choose something that you are really interested in. Something that this audience just really needs to know, this message I have. It's important. If you're excited about it, your excitement is contagious. Your audience will pick up on that. Plus, it'd be a lot easier for you to remember what to say when you're passionate about what you're talking about. If you go away with one thought from this presentation, maybe it's this one. Benefits. What is in it for your audience? If they don't care about what you're talking about, you're wasting your breath and you're wasting their time. So you need to know what your interests are, what the interest of your audience is, what they can benefit from. And if you can nail that, that's what you want to talk about. And of course, make it your own. There's many people that you'll see give presentations, speeches, late night talk show hosts, you name it. And you think, wow, that was great. Maybe I could do that. Maybe I should steal that. And by all means, yeah, steal it. Definitely steal it. There's no law, there's no patents on any of this stuff. But make it your own. Put your own spin on it. It's like if you swiped your neighbor's car, everybody know that's not your car. What are you doing in Bob's car? I mean, make it your own. At least give it a paint job or something. Then they know, hey, maybe that's theirs. It belongs to them. Well, they're clever. Don't tell them you swiped it from someone else. And practice. Practice, practice, practice. But how do you practice? If you have a nice family who are willing to listen, and some friends, gather them around. Practice with an audience, a very friendly audience in your living room. Very friendly atmosphere as well. If you don't have friends, Then imagine your audience. Imagine. Just go to an empty room and speak to a lot of empty chairs. Imagine there's an audience there. But you don't even have to do that. Just do it mentally. Imagine what your performance is like, and it'll help. And of course, when you are doing this, you can even video your performance if you choose. And I was just talking about this, visualize your performance. Imagine yourself from the beginning when you're being introduced, you come forward to the lectern or to the front of the room, you're confident, you're smiling, you're energetic, and you go through your presentation up here. And what that does, it tricks your mind into actually thinking that you actually did this. It's like a dry rehearsal. And of course, there's really one thing is there's just no substitute, and that's for experience. The more you do it, the easier it's going to get. It sort of numbs the fears when you do it more and more and more. You become more confident. You find out that nothing bad happens. And that's important. If you can know that nothing bad is going to happen, and your audience is going to benefit from it, it's going to be a good experience. All right, some relaxation techniques that we want to talk about, because if you can relax your body, you can relax the mind as well. One way we can do that is isometric exercises. Isometric just means something, an exercise that you can do in position, sitting or standing. You're not doing jumping jacks and all that kind of thing. So do some stretches. Oh yeah, arm, shoulder rolls are great. Take your hand and just stretch out front. Ooh, fantastic. Feel good? Oh. Oh, yes. Do that in front before your presentation, before your job interview. Loosen up. Get things going and loose. And then particularly in the neck and the upper shoulders, that's where the real tension comes in. So stretch it out. Right this side. Roll your head around. Get things loosened up. You'll feel a lot more relaxed. Really handy thing to do when you're giving a presentation is to breathe. And particularly before the presentation, to take some deep breaths. Get that oxygen going in your blood. And deep from down here, your diaphragm, not shallow breathing, deep breathing. Get that oxygen into your system so that when you do start your presentation and you are a bit nervous, you have a bank of oxygen in your blood system. And while you are doing your presentation, have times in there where there are pauses. Pauses are very important in any presentation, and you can use those pauses to take that extra breath. A little bit of a sales pitch now. You didn't think you're going to get away without this. Why should we join a Toastmasters club? Well, the first reason is it works. I mean, I am proof of that. Many, many thousands of Toastmasters members are proof of that it does work. Nobody yet has ever gone to a Toastmasters meeting and come out worse. It just doesn't happen. You cannot help but improve. And unlike college, university, it's very user-friendly. There are no strict dates that you have to have assignments in. There's no tests. You cannot fail at Toastmasters. You work at it at your own pace. So it's very friendly to go through. And I do believe that it is the best money you'll ever spend is to join a Toastmasters club. Even better than Google. You will profit from Toastmasters, not just financially. You will do that, I'm sure, but for the better life a less anxious life, more self-esteem. It is well worth it. So all of you, you have information there with you that you can go to the different clubs that are in town. Most of them are 2 hours, some are 1 hour. What's 2 hours out of your life? It doesn't cost anything, and it could change your life. Take advantage of it. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we want to leave with Cassie. I named her Cassie. She didn't really have a particular name, but I think she's sums up everything that we came through today. Good.
Awesome, that's really good.